They'll blanket you in Wi-Fi and profit off the radiation. Congregation collecting the people for that Satan. I keeps it blazing, cause I can read between the lines. I ain't blind, we unwind what they're really saying. Genetically modify what you're tasting. Loan you that cottage promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Programmed to crave the basics. Keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid. You're in debt for being born. Messengers are more than just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed, disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of own nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful. Friends, welcome to Thursday night's episode of Middle Path. Actually, oh my god, why didn't I do the Middle Path intro? You guys, I just get so confused sometimes. I'm just going to switch over and see what happens. Oh, Middle Path logo. If you're on YouTube right now, just know that in, I don't know, a few minutes or so, we're going to switch over to Rockfin only because Middle Path is a Rockfin exclusive show. But I did have a few things for everybody. But if you're not yet on Rockfin, it's super simple, easy as pie. Just hop over to Rockfin, ROKFIN.com/rogueways. And you can watch. I think you might have to sign up or something, just like anything, but you don't have to pay. It's free. If you want to pay, I gladly accept tips and subscriptions, and I love you. If you subscribe, you get access to everybody on Rockfin, not just me. So feel free to do that. And one of the things I want to share right away is, again, how much intention meditations work. I always brag that our group has 100% success rate. It isn't us, it's the dynamics of the universe. You know, this is how things work. And so we get together and we pick specific people and specific outcomes we want to see, and we visualize just the positive that we want to see, the situation that we want to see them in. You know, and yesterday we had 3 different people. One of them is me. I had some pretty significant pain. It is gone. Thank you all. One of them was another person who were, you know, it's going to take some time to see that one. And another was one we would have expected to have taken more time to see. But within one day, the whole world transformed for this person. And that was Sonia, our second intention meditation yesterday. Maybe second. Anyway, we visualized for her all of the abundance just coming to her. And she was really at this point at her wit's end, you know, at the end of her rope, and she was feeling like kind of giving up, and she deserves so much. And so we visualized all that abundance coming to her. Every situation that was going poorly is completely turned around in ways that would be beyond expectation. And I don't want to break the privacy of people to go into detail, but I just wanted you all to know how powerful you are and how we still have 100% success rate in this group. And I'm just very grateful for everybody out there, and I'm especially grateful for those who are realizing how powerful these intentions are and can be, and just throwing their heart into it. You know, you're not losing anything. You're not, sometimes there's things where I wouldn't necessarily join in because I'm not sure the intention of like the group, but these are pretty clear. We're like, our intention is that this person receive abundance. Like that's, you know, pretty straightforward. So I just invite you all to join. There's a group on Facebook you can link up with, but I always also just try to post it in locals. If you're in locals, you would normally know when there's a meditation happening, and then in the Telegram chat also. So those are also good places to go. I don't have the Facebook link handy, but you could probably find it on that episode from yesterday somewhere. So anyways, I also want to just do a few, you know, sort of, I guess, updates, for lack of a better word, on some of the things that we've been following here on Rogue Ways, and then we'll get, and Middle Path too, and then we'll get into the topic that is just for Middle Path and that will only be on Rockfin, and that is that we're talking about the darkness and the purpose of darkness and what we might call evil sometimes, and why it exists, and that maybe that's a good thing. And so we'll see. I'd love to get your guys' input on that too. So thanks for going on the journey with me. But I always like to remind people that they can go to rogueways.org and grab all kinds of things. There's articles I write, poetry I write, there's books that I sell. They're my books that I wrote. I sign them and send them out to you. I'm getting a whole shipment of this new book, All Endings Are Beginnings. It's coming in tomorrow or Saturday, and all of you who have pre-ordered it, It is gonna come to you so quick. It has been described as snippets of wisdom like a modern Khalil Gibran put into concise and thought-provoking prose, and that is the highest praise I think I could receive. And it really is just a book of really deep and profound, I think, looks at life, and it's a beautiful thing. You can flip to any page, see all kinds of inspiration, and get that dose you need. You could also use it as an oracle type of situation. You have a question, you flip to a page, you get your wisdom there. And of course, I offer tarot, spiritual guidance, orgone, crystals, blessings, and more, and that's all at rogueways.org. So come, it's a great way to support the show, and it's a great way to get just really awesome stuff that you love. So a couple things I want to point out before we switch to Rockfin only and start talking about the darkness, and that is that Cliff High, old school, awesome dude. He's that guy who does the sort of mega analysis of all of the background chatter of the electronic world. He kind of like, I hope I'm not giving it enough credit, but he basically digests like everything that is on any accessible non-dark web internet page and condenses it into readable data for himself, and he gets these trends, and they tend to predict things. And so on one of his recent episodes, and this is his BitChute channel, if you don't know yet about Cliff High, I will just throw this into the chat for some people to go check out at your leisure. And so the reason someone tipped me off recently that one of his most recent, so I'm guessing it's either Leaky Woo, The Woo Deal, or Fud Woo, had some analysis about this spongy brain sort of syndrome, or sponge brain, and the idea of brains falling apart on the horizon. So remember, what he does is he analyzes all this, and then he spits out some analyses of what that might mean about the future and what's coming. There's a lot of reasons why this would be an acceptable way to analyze and come to good guesses and theories, and he's often right, and so it's pretty cool. But if you remember the last time we talked about the experimental medications that some people are taking, we talked about the risk of prion disease, and prion disease specifically can happen when there is mRNA telling your DNA and your body to create proteins. If it creates an abundance of proteins of the wrong kind, or they go to the wrong spot, it can start creating prions and eat your brain up. We talked about that in one of the recent episodes of either Rogue or Rockfin or Middle Path. But he is finding the same thing on a completely different tangent and method of analysis. And so I just thought that was interesting and terrifying. And I was concerned there was something in Canada that was going on where there was a lot of people who were suddenly getting something like mad cow disease, which is a prion disease and is similar to what we're talking about here. And I was like, here it is. It's already happening. We were just talking about this on Rogueways, and now all these people are sick. But it turns out that specific incidence in Canada may actually be more attributable to a nuclear waste site and some environmental poisoning. Someone pointed out, however, that environmental poisoning is often a really good cover-up for experimental medication side effects or things of that nature. I think you can catch my drift. So that's possible. But at the very least, we see that Cliff High is getting sponge brain types of prion, mad cow sorts of hintings at what might be coming our way. And I don't know why it's defining brain. Oh, really? Spongy brain. Anyway, spongy brain is actually a thing, and it's a degenerative effect of the brain, and it may or may not be related to prion disease. Prion disease is definitely something that eats your brain up and makes you go insane. So if you just think about, like, if we on the horizon have these people whose brains are being eaten up by prions from this experimental medication that they've chosen to take, and at the same time, those people are possibly mind controlled with the methods we've also overviewed in the previous few episodes of Rogueways. Now you have mind controlled zombies. Like, I'm not exaggerating. And that's fucking crazy. So I don't know. That's not necessarily what the SPARS pandemic has predicted, but what the SPARS pandemic document did predict is this little gem here, which I had forgotten. Whenever I read this, the first time I read this was years ago. There was a more recent one, and that's this one, I guess. or they updated it or something. But either way, I go through so much information, I sometimes forget some things. But luckily, Charlie Robinson of Macroaggressions has been following some of the work I've been doing, and he has so kindly pointed out that the SPARS pandemic document, which if you're not familiar, this is just like they always do. They do their little drills, and this is one of those. It was called the SPARS pandemic scenario. You can find it. I'll throw this PDF in case you haven't seen it yet. A lot of people have covered it. I've covered it. Covering it again. Anyways, towards the end of this scenario, they talk about, while the federal government appeared to have appropriately addressed concerns around the acute side effects of the Corovax. I mean, it's a coronavirus too, if you didn't know. It's so dumb. The long-term chronic effects of the vaccine were still largely unknown. Nearing the end of 2027, reports of new neurological symptoms began to emerge. So this is saying years after these people took their experimental medications for this scenario, their neurological symptoms began to emerge. After showing no adverse side effects for nearly a year, several vaccine recipients slowly began to experience symptoms such as blurry vision, headaches, and numbness in their extremities. It goes on to talk about like how they should respond to these side effects and how they should thank the nation for their sacrifice and all this crap. It's disgusting. This whole document is disgusting. And it very, very well maps out everything that's happened so far. And then now we have some more indication of what might be happening. So again, this prion disease, this brain-eating disease, and the indications that this might be coming our way exist. And I just wanted to throw out even more evidence that seems to be very likely. Sorry, not sorry. It's not fun to think about these things, and at the same time, I'd rather be informed. And I have a lot of really close loved ones who have chosen to go this route, and it makes me incredibly sad. So I'm sad with you, but we're about to do a little centering and release of responsibility for these other people in Rockfin, over on Rockfin and Middle Path. We like to do a couple quick practices with each show because the goal of Middle Path is to help just regular people like us be a little bit more spiritually aware and in touch and grounded without having to deal with like gurus and bullshit and like dick measuring contests and all the shit that goes along with new age random crap. So if you want to come join us, hop over to Rockfin if you're not already there. I see there's still some people over on YouTube, and I love you guys, and I hope that I see you on Rockfin, where we have a bunch of people in the chat keeping it real, and we're about to go into some pretty awesome topics. So bye bye YouTube, see you later.